par excellence. He has always lot of regards for contributing to this profession. I remember when he was in the council with me for 9 full years, he was always focused towards the needs of students and members from offshore towns and also from Bangalore, so that they are never in a difficulty and they get the best from the institute. Over to Brother Raghu for his words of wisdom, for which all of us are waiting. Sir, the dice is entirely yours. Raghu sir, please come.
Thank you, Nandaji. And I'm extremely thankful to you for all the good words you have showered on me. Friends, I deem it a honor and privilege to be amongst you to deliver a keynote address for the certification course for concurrent audit. I would like to compliment Mr. Nandaji, the chairman of this committee. And as Nandaji rightly said, he was the first chairman of this committee when it was set up. Since then, Nandaji has been contributing a lot. He was instrumental in designing the internal standards. Today, our internal standards have become extremely, relevant, and where the statutory auditors are placing reliance on the work of internal auditors. I think these standards are very useful and make it a reality that the quality of internal audit that is carried out by our members are extremely good. I would like to compliment Mr. Nanda for the good work he's doing as the chairman of the Internal Audit Standards Board. Friends, today we have all assembled for the certification course on concurrent audit. It has become a big success. Yes, we are going through a pandemic. Last 6 months has been challenging time for all of us. First 3 months was fine. April, May, June, we knew that there was a pandemic. Lockdown was announced by the government. We used to stay back at home. But the unfortunate thing happened July, August, September. The numbers started going up, and then when you're getting calls from your friends, relatives, that many of your known people are succumbing to corona. That is when you started realizing that, yes, I should restrict my movements. I should try to be at home. I should work from home. I should be very careful. And then when you have time at home, what do? You upskill yourself. And Nandaji has taken the lead in conducting. I think this is the only committee of the institute that has done the maximum number of certification courses on concurrent audit. And I think I should congratulate and compliment Mr. Nandaji for having taken the lead, for having made this certification courses popular, and for empowering the concurrent auditor. Because friends, I had the opportunity of serving on the board of Indian Overseas Bank. The last 3 years, it was sometime during August. I laid down office as a director, as an independent director, as a chairman of the audit committee. And as a chairman of the audit committee, I've had occasions to see the various concurrent audit reports of the CA firms. I've tried to analyze the quality of work that is being done by the concurrent audit. And let me assure you, friends, that yes, our profession is doing a good job, but yes, there's scope for improvement. And as professionals, it's absolutely essential for us to update ourselves what is happening in the banking industry. And that being the case, it is essential for us to understand what is the expectation of the regulators, and then try to see if we are able to live up to the expectation of the shareholders. Now, what I would do is I have a very small, Nandaji has given me 10 minutes of time for me to share a small presentation. I request Arun to share the presentation.
Sir, please take your own time, sir.
Friends, what I would like to, what Nandaji has requested me to, speak today is that in the keynote address, all of you are, participating in this concurrent audit course. Some of you would have done concurrent audit, carried out concurrent audit for many years. Some of you might be newcomers. You're keen to get into this area of concurrent audit. And some of you would like to see how you could build a good career for yourself in doing concurrent audit of banks. I think we have almost more than 45 participants in this particular certification course, and it is essential for each one of you to understand as to what is the expectations of the regulators. So what I would do is I will just take you to some of the recent developments that is taking place in the banking industry. For you to understand what is expected from you as a concurrent auditor, I think you need to understand the developments in the banking sector. Coming to the banking sector in India, as you are aware, the banking sector in India needs to be well capitalized. Basically what is happening is that most of the banks are undercapitalized. Today, they're looking at the government of India for capital infusion so that they're able to comply with the Basel III norms. Can you maximize the presentation, Arun? That's what one part. Yes, that'll be fine. So basically what is happening is that the public sector banks in India have to be capitalized. A lot of capital has to be infused by the government of India to comply with Basel III norms. And the government of India has been proactively supporting all the nationalized bank. And in the bank in which I served as an independent director, we had a lot of capital infusion from the government of India, because as you know, the government of India is a major shareholder in all the public sector banks. That is number one. Number two, the increasing NPAs. What has happened is that because of increasing NPAs, we find that the profitability of the banks has reduced. You understand? So, we find that many of the banks are not able to declare good profit. We find that because of increasing NPAs, all the more the profitability has reduced. And because of the pandemic today, I'm sure the first quarter and the second quarter results would not be as per the expectations of the banks. So this has affected the credibility of the public sector bank in India. And one more new development that has taken place, which all of you as concurrent auditors should know, is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code that has helped banks to speed up their collections, and that has come very, very handy to the to the banks in trying to see how best they're able to recover their NPAs. Then we also have the Securitization, Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Informants of Securities, SARFAESI Act 2002. All these are new development that has taken place, and as concurrent auditors, you need to understand what is happening in the banking sector, what are the changes that is impacting the banking sector, and lastly, the digital impact. More and more technology being used. As concurrent auditors, you need to have the knowledge of technology. You need to have the knowledge of how you can audit in a IT environment. Next. Now, what is happening, friends, is that you are concurrent auditor of, let us say, a bank in Bangalore, and you find that the bank in Bangalore is digitized. A lot of computerization has been there, and hardly you find customers because everyone is transacting using mobiles. Today, if you look at the new generation, most of them are comfortable transacting on the mobile phones. They're able to transfer funds. They're able to effect payments, whether for their credit cards or whether for their telephone bills. So mobile banking has become very convenient. And you have UPI that has come in, a seamless and hassle-free payment option like Paytm, and then you have this UPI things like Beam. All these apps have become very easy for customers to use. Contactless payments, where you can pay, like for example, I was seeing an ad today where Titan has come out with a watch which is having a SIM card that is built in. You can just show that watch to any of these, when you go to a shop, and automatically payment takes place. Biometric authentication has brought about a lot of change in security. Blockchain and artificial intelligence also has brought in, will bring about a lot of this. So you as concurrent auditors should understand how digitization would impact your work. Today, most of the banks are using core banking solutions, and you should have the knowledge of the latest technology so that you are able to operate effectively as concurrent auditors. Friends, here as concurrent auditors, I thought I should talk about the frauds. What has happened, the number of financial frauds are increasing over the years. And today, what is happening is that because of liberalization, because of the banks aggressively lending, we find that the banking frauds have increased, and this has become a serious concern for the Reserve Bank of India. So what really happens is that banks would like to discover the frauds. They want to prevent fraud from happening. And when a concurrent auditor has been appointed for a particular branch, they want the concurrent auditor to detect the frauds. Fine. Next slide, please, Arun. And as concurrent auditors, it is essential for you to know the various types of frauds that takes place in the banking sector. Today, in the concurrent audit report, sometimes you are asked to report on the various frauds that takes place. And many a times you realize that it's very difficult to, discover the fraud, because you have forged checks that have been altered. You have a demand draft fraud. You have a phishing or internet fraud, disbursement fraud. Then you have identity thefts. You have mortgage fraud, appraisal fraud. So what is very important is that as concurrent auditors, you should know the various types of frauds that are happening in the banking sector. In fact, there's a very good book that has been published by the Institute on Frauds. I would request Mr. Nandaji if he could circulate the copy of this book to all the participants, so that they are in a position to understand the various kinds of frauds that take place in the banking industry. Now, coming to the PNB fraud. As you know, what happened in PNB, the core banking system was not integrated with the SWIFT messages. As a result, you know what really happened. The officers colluded because generally the SWIFT messages go through a three-layer security system. That is, that you have the maker, you have the checker, and you have the verifier. But in the case of POB, LOUs, the letter of undertakings, were issued by the branch officials to SWIFT without the approval of the competent authority, and as a result of which colluding officials sent SWIFT messages from one of PNB's Mumbai branches to overseas branches, and as a result of which there's a huge fraud that took place in the Punjab National Bank. Next slide, Arun. So how the PNB fraud could have been avoided? The scam came into picture immediately after the retirement of an official of PNB who had colluded with Nirav Modi. If the Punjab National Bank had followed rotation of employees, I think they could have saved this humongous loss of 11,600 crores. And here, integration of CBS with SWIFT message was lacking. Here, the role of concurrent auditors comes to question. As you know, if you remember, when the fraud was discovered, everyone said, "What was a concurrent auditor doing? What was the statute auditor doing?" So, absolutely essential for you to understand how frauds are taking place. And you as concurrent auditors of bank branches should understand how large size frauds take place. And whenever the large advance that has been made by the branch, you should try to see if any frauds are there. And if you see in the case of Rotomac, the company diverted the funds, and we saw that shell companies were formed and a lot of fake and forged documents were created to induce the bank to advance money. So what happens is, when you're a concurrent auditor, when you look and examine the loan documents, you should ensure that there are no fake documents, there are no forged documents, there are no shell companies, and loans have been used for the purpose for which it has been lent, and there has been no diversion of funds. All big, large size advances, as a concurrent auditor, it is your responsibility to see whether the funds have not been diverted. Next. Then why do you think there's a reason for increase in frauds? Today we find that the banks, the branch managers are very aggressive in lending. They are very keen to lend, as a result of which there's a lot of deviation from the processes. Sometimes you find that, loans are made without taking proper signature, without taking signature of the guarantor. Loans are being dispersed, amounts are being credited to the accounts. So bank managers are a little aggressive. They are not ensuring that the documentation is taken in full. And when you go for a concurrent audit, when you ask them for the bank manager for the documents, he will say, "Sir, you please check this, sir. Another 2 days, we'll be getting that. In another 2 days, we are getting this document." And we find the lack of foresight by the branch managers. So that is because a lot of pressure is there for them to meet targets which are unreasonable, as a result of which we have also seen in our bank that many bank managers compromising on the quality of documentation are lending loans. And then another important thing which I see with increasing frauds is that there are no tools to detect frauds. That is another disadvantage what is happening. And the employees are colluding with external parties. And as a result of which, there's an opportunity for someone to get into a fraud. And there's pressure is there, and rationalization, as a result of which the fraud triangles have said, we find that the frauds are increasing. Next. So you as concurrent auditors have an important role to detect frauds. You might tell me, Mr. Raghu, it is very difficult to detect a fraud. But let me tell you, friends, whenever we have examined before the discipline committee, Mr. Nanda would have agreed with me, many frauds would have been detected. The moment a fraud is detected, the bank, the credit department, they look into the role of the concurrent auditor, look into the role of the statutory auditor. If for some reason you have not reported on the frauds, you will be hauled up by the bank. Letter will be sent to you from the bank asking for reasons. If they're not satisfied, if they find that you have been professionally negligent, you have not been carrying out your work properly, you have been selling your article clerks, you have not been sending chartered accountants, you have not been adequately spending time during concurrent audit, they'll write to the institute, and institute will initiate dispute proceedings against you. So it is absolutely essential for you to keep in mind, yes, concurrent audit fees is not adequate to the time that you spend. That's a different issue. But nevertheless, if you are appointed as a concurrent auditor for bank branch, you have to spend substantial time to see the frauds are detected, because finally the fraud that happens in the bank, the entire responsibility will be on you. Next slide. What are the fraud indicators? These are some of the fraud indicators which I would not like to go into great detail. Ad hoc sanctions made by the branches. Then you have high value RTGS payments to unrelated parties, related party transaction, heavy cash withdrawal in loan accounts. All these indicate that frauds have taken place. So let us say you are a concurrent auditor of a bank, and this particular branch is having about 10 to 12 big accounts. For all these large size accounts, you need to have certain parameters. try to see whether any interest funding has been done by sanctioning additional facilities, whether any ad hoc sanctions have been given, very heavy cash withdrawals are there, whether there's any frequent change in the scope of the project, high value RTGS payments and substantial related party transactions are there. That these are some of the indicators that help you to discover a fraud when you're doing a concurrent audit. Next. So the banking system expects you to detect the frauds. The Reserve Bank of India wants the CA fraternity to ensure the banking system is robust. Even the society, there's an expectation that, you know, whenever you see in the paper the fraud has taken place, the first question they would ask is, what are the auditors doing? So basically, you need to develop some additional skill sets for this. You have to do concurrent audit, forensic. And that is the reason why most of the banks are now doing forensic audit of NPA accounts, and we have a certification course on forensic audit that will help you to detect fraud. If you're keen, yes, you could take up this course on forensic audit of conducted by the institute that will help you to carry out forensic audit of NPA account. But yes, today the role of the auditors in fraud detection is now very high, and as a concurrent auditor, the responsibility cast on you by the management, society, they expect you to discover the fraud. Next. And next thing which I would like to talk about is cyber crimes. Today, you know, we find most of the transactions are happening on the internet. People are transacting all the banking transactions online. The banks are giving online account. You're able to trade in shares. You're able to make payments on Amazon. So cyber crimes are increasing. Cyber criminals are also increasing. So cyber security is now the order of the day. And as concurrent auditors, you should know that your branch for which you are appointed as a concurrent auditor is prone to a cyber attack. We have seen in our own bank, when I was a director, that some of the branches where, you know, we had some attacks where the details were compromised, and as a result of which the banks becomes liable. So as concurrent auditor, you should try to see whether the IT controls are robust and safe. Next. This is something of the cyber attack on Cosmos branch is carried out in 18. Almost 94 crores was siphoned off from the branch. And here the concurrent auditor did not report at all to the management, and a complaint was filed against the chartered accountant firm. And then here what has happened is the hackers wiped out the money and transferred it to a Hong Kong situated bank by hacking the server of Cosmos Bank. The attack was not on the centralized bank of Cosmos Bank. The switching system, which acts as the interacting module between the payment gateway and the bank centralized system, was attacked. So here the central banking solution was not attacked. The switching system was attacked. So there was a need for the bank to strengthen the security policies and security systems. So when you are a concurrent auditor of a large size bank, you should look into all this. So you need to have the knowledge of cyber security audit. You might tell us, Mr. Raghu, all this requires additional expertise. Yes, if you're doing a concurrent audit for a large size branch where they pay you a good fee, you need to have the knowledge of conducting a cyber security audit, because today passwords are loosely being used. You know, if you go to a bank branch audit, go for a concurrent audit, you find that the bank manager's password is known to almost everyone in the branch. So you should try to see that such things don't happen and security controls are established. Next. So you need to do a cyber security audit and try to see that proper security controls are maintained in the branches. Friends, coming quickly to the NPAs. NPAs in the public sector banks is increasing from 6.2 lakh crore in 15 to and March 18 today. It's growing very fast. Between 15 and 18, you see this is the kind of NPA, the biggest concern. And today we find that the lapse in due diligence, lack of strong legal procedure, corruption, and GDP slowdown, relaxed lending norm, priorities, all these have increased NPAs. And as concurrent auditors, you should try to see how you can help the management to see that the NPAs are reduced or arrested. And then next, today we find that the losses are increasing, and a lot of banks have declared losses. But yes, some of the banks have declared profits. But yes, today we have seen a lot of mergers also happening. I'm sure way forward, the banking sector would definitely do well. Next. Then, as you know, RBI has brought in a lot of reforms. We have the Basel III norms that have been brought in. Then Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code has come. A revised system of prompt corrective action also has brought in. All these reforms you should be aware, especially the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, the PCA, asset quality reviews for transparency and recognition qualification. All this as concurrent auditors, you should have complete knowledge of. Coming to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, as you know, today, lot of, there's a decline in wait for regulatory directions. Banks can file for insolvency procedures on their own. And as a result of which, a lot of chartered accountants are being appointed as insolvency professionals. And I personally feel there's a terrific opportunity for all chartered accountants in insolvency practice also. But as concurrent auditors, your role is restricted to ensure that the insolvency professional who has been appointed is doing his job well. And in case any of the accounts are subjected to insolvency proceedings, maybe you need to exercise additional care to see that everything is happening properly. And finally, friends, what I would like to say is that you need to maintain adequate working papers. Because friends, when a case is filed against you by the bank with the district committee, when we look into all the details, whether you have done your job diligently, whether you have put the right kind of effort, we generally ask for the working papers. I request, if you are the concurrent auditor for bank branch audit, ensure that you are maintaining the working papers. Digital working papers are permitted. The institute permits you to keep the working papers in digital format. I would request you to keep all these working papers so that if there's a query by the institute, you are summoned by the district committee, you should be in a position to provide all these papers to the institute to say that you have done your job properly. Finally, friends, my request to each one of the participants present here is that if you want to be an effective concurrent auditor, you should try to spend quality time in the particular branch. You should interact with the branch manager, officials, try to get information as to what is happening, examine all larges, advances, have proper documentation, have a team that is trained well so they're able to do a good job. You should have the knowledge of IT audit. You should know how frauds are committed by the bank. All this will help you to do a high quality concurrent audit, and then the management would appreciate your work. Because many a times I feel that some of the concurrent auditors take it very lightly. They send their article clerks to do the concurrent audit and they don't even spend even 1 or 2 days, and as a result of which the quality would suffer. So my message to all the participants present here is that yes, I'm very happy that you have joined this course. Good luck, happy learning. It's a great opportunity for you to update your knowledge on the concurrent audit. And I'm sure all the speakers will take you through the new developments taking place in the banking sector, how exactly internal concurrent audit has changed. And I once again thank Mr. Nandaji for having invited me and for having permitted me to share my thoughts on this happy occasion. Good luck to each one of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Raghu, for a very scintillating and mind-boggling presentation. I was totally glued onto the set, looking at each and every point which you made. Really astounding, really fantabulous.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So we are thankful to Brother I joined the participants. Thank you for agreeing to our request and coming to speak, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir.